What is up, guys? It's PlaidNGlasses here. Welcome to a PNGW video. Today we're going to be talking about WWE Stomping Grounds and honestly how unenthusiastic I am to even look at this pay-per-view, let alone even care about it, because this whole pay-per-view build-up, this whole pay-per-view in general has just been nothing but a shit show. None of the matches make sense. None of these matches we've seen 100 times over. The storylines don't make sense. The build of it is so bad. Everything about WWE is so frustrating right now, and it's the biggest thing I have a big issue with is the inconsistent storylines that's been going on. Because there's so many storylines that been going and then dropped and make no sense and other shit. It just doesn't make any sense for anybody and anywhere. When it comes to the fans, to the roster, to the people writing it, to Vince McMahon, it just does not make sense at all. And this pay-per-view shows how much this inconsistency is damaging their product. I don't give a shit if WWE is making so much money on the third hour. I don't give a shit they're making more money than WrestleMania in the Saudi Arabia promotion pay-per-views. Honestly, it's the product that we care about the most. I know you need to make a profit, but if your profit is overshadowing your shit content, people are gonna stop watching, and it's pretty evident that people have stopped watching. Your ratings are tanking, lower than it's ever been. Your ticket sales of Stomping Grounds, from what I've been seeing and what I've been reading, haven't been selling like gangbusters as you probably think, and everything about it is just summed up with one word: tarp. All you've been doing is tarping every single arena that you've been in. There's been sometimes you'll be having a full crowd or whatever, but that's only because you've been giving out your tickets, let alone, trying to come up with a better product. What I'm trying to say is this. The actual Stomping Grounds card, I'm not very excited for. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin Universal Championship match has been the most lackluster main event I've ever seen in my life, and there's been a lot of lackluster main events. The whole thing with Jinder Mahal being WWE champion was probably the key point, but this one is overtopping it with the inconsistencies of Brock Lesnar being the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. Because if they didn't shit on the briefcase or the Money in the Bank concept in the past couple of years, they've done it even worse with him. He's a beast. He's the one who conquered the damn streak, for Christ's sakes. He's been looking like a dominant champion. Whenever somebody comes in, everybody shakes their boots because you got this big bloated purple penis of Brock Lesnar sweating his ass all over the place, doing one couple of F5s here or there, and he's basically just demolished everybody. But then you get him as Money in the Bank and you make him look like a bitch. He destroyed Seth Rollins one night on Raw, the night before a couple of days before the Saudi Arabia show, and it was easy picking for him to just cash it in and do it. But then he said he wants to do it Friday. He wants to do it Friday when he has the champion down and out. I know he's supposed to look like, oh, I'm so badass, I could choose wherever I want it. I don't want to do it right now. I'll do it at Saudi Arabia. So we wait until Saudi Arabia. And with the 1,000 of fans, wrestling fans, as you could say, come down to see him, Paul Heyman drops the briefcase, and then Seth Rollins returns with a chair, and a chair. Why do I feel like this match, this blow-off match with Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins, is going to go into a chair stipulation match or something like they did with TLC or some shit? If that's the payoff, I'm going to really be angry. The whole thing with Brock Lesnar and this thing could have done something special if they didn't fuck it up as much as they did in Money in the Bank with him just running in at the end after these guys destroyed themselves, take the briefcase. They could have done something really special. But no, they made him look like a complete stupid idiot. Like a complete moron, not cashing it in when these guys have been down and out multiple times. It makes him look less of like an unstoppable beast into a real big moron. Like a complete fucking idiot. And it's the most inconsistent thing I've ever seen in my life. And then you have Baron Corbin, out of all people, to fight for the Universal Championship. I think WWE is using Baron Corbin as the most X-Pac heat you can get. Because if there's one person that probably unanimously nobody likes. Now, I'm going to put this out here just so I can get this out. I think Baron Corbin is a strong wrestler. He's a strong wrestler in the ring. He can carry himself and he can carry a promo. I'm putting it out there. When under the right circumstances, he can perform pretty well. But since he has been buried down to the ground, where WWE is using him as a scapegoat for everything, just like how they try to do with Roman Reigns, with getting all the heels in the entire locker room to face him just to get him over with the crowd. This is the problem that I have. They're using him as a cheap heel heat to get the crowd invested. But the problem is that people are already invested in Seth Rollins no matter what he does. It's just that nobody wants nobody wants Baron Corbin. Plain and simple, they don't want him in the main event. He had this mid-card of evil tag team with Bobby Lashley, Elias, and then Drew McIntyre, which Drew McIntyre is going off with Shane McMahon and some other shit. Like, I don't understand. It's inconsistent, and it doesn't make any sense. You have Baron Corbin going out here being himself, being a complete jackass asshole, and people are just uninterested in this fucking match. And there's no point to it. I don't know why he's thrown into this Universal Championship picture in the whole hindsight. Regardless if he won a match or something in storyline-wise, I'm talking like real, in kayfabe, what is the point of him even being in this main event picture? He already lost it. When he had the Money in the Bank contract, he could have been main event worthy, but then he opened his fucking mouth and then he lost it in a very, very humiliating fashion. So there's no point to this whatsoever. Honestly, I am so sick and tired of this Universal Championship bullshit that it's just it gives me a migraine. And that's just one match of the card. The rest of the matches don't make any sense. Like, we got Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns again. Listen, I understand. Vince McMahon has a hard-on with Roman Reigns. Again, Roman Reigns is a fantastic competitor, great on the mic, great in the ring. He could put on really good matches. I feel we've seen this before, and we have. We've seen them fight at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns came out the victor. And then now they're doing this whole thing with Shane McMahon and this bullshit. I don't understand it. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Shane McMahon, thrusting him into these 30-minute promo stuff in Raw and SmackDown, and I don't understand why they're doing this. But then reading up the rumors that Shane McMahon is probably going to be pushed to beat Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship, and in hopes that Roman Reigns can defeat him in ways to get people over. The thing is, WWE, Roman Reigns was already over when he came back. He didn't have to do anything. All you had to do was just put him in interesting storylines, give him some people to fight, and you can keep that going. But unfortunately, Vince McMahon didn't want to do this whole thing, which I agree with, putting the belt on him immediately as he come back, because then the fans will immediately turn on him as fast as you could say gangbusters. But in this situation, they have booked him kind of like a mid-card guy instead of trying to be like a top main eventer. He doesn't have to fight for the championship. He could just fight somebody personally. But they chose the wrong person to be personal with, and that is potato punching, bloated, sweaty, fat hog Shane McMahon. Honestly, I don't understand this guy. I honestly don't. He's not a good wrestler. He only has good matches when he's being carried. But he's athletic. I'm not gonna knock him on that, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. And then this whole blow off with Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, I don't know who's gonna win. I don't really care, because the end result is gonna be Shane McMahon versus Roman Reigns one day, maybe at SummerSlam or some shit like that. I don't know, or maybe at WrestleMania. Maybe Shane fights Kofi for the championship. He wins. He goes off and this is best in the world. I'm the WWE Championship, and the Roman Reigns come out and beats him at WrestleMania. Like, if that's the end result, and I'm calling it now, that's the end result of this entire Shane McMahon bullshit, it's literally the most stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life, because it's the only way to get what Vince McMahon is trying to do, get Roman Reigns over being champion without pitting the most likable guy, which is Kofi Kingston. And I feel like that's why they're doing this Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, because I feel like Drew should be in the main event picture. Honestly, I think Drew should be fighting for the Universal Championship over Baron Corbin. I think Drew should have been in the main event picture way before this. But now he's just stuck in Shane McMahon's mid-card of evil with the revival of all tag teams. And now he's just stuck in this weird limbo thing where he's a Scottish psychopath. Great name right there, and have him fight Roman Reigns. But the thing is, they booked him strong as well, but then he lost at WrestleMania, then rebuilt him with Shane McMahon, and then now he's fighting this Roman Reigns match. I don't know what the end result is. I really don't. I really don't understand what they're trying to pull here with this whole Shane, Drew, and Roman Reigns thing until I read all the reports that there's rumors that Shane McMahon is going to be WWE Championship for Roman Reigns, and it's like, my God, it just looks so bad. It looks so petty. You're throwing so many good, fuck that, not good, amazing talent under the bus just so Vince McMahon can just finish jerking off. I feel like Vince McMahon has been jerking off for the past several years, that he's been trying to get Roman Reigns over, and now he's getting close, because by the time Roman Reigns hold up the title and there's not a boo in sight, that's when Vince McMahon is going to finally climax, and then he could be done. I think this is his last thing that he needs to do just to get himself off, because honestly, this whole thing with Roman Reigns, Shane McMahon, Drew McIntyre does not make sense. And like I said, Drew McIntyre should be doing something better with his life than being a pawn in Shane McMahon's posse or some shit like that. It just looks stupid. It makes everybody look ridiculous. Nobody really comes out on top at this storyline, and nobody looks good. So the whole Seth Rollins, Baron Corbin with Brock Lesnar is like a weird threesome of bullshit. Then you got Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, and Shane McMahon in another threesome of bullshit. And then we got Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler in the WWE Championship steel cage match. I don't know what Dolph Ziggler is doing, because he keeps saying like he wants to leave, he wants to stay, he wants to be behind the guy, he doesn't want to wrestle, he wants to move somewhere else, he wants to be a stand-up comedian. I don't know what the fuck this guy wants. Honestly, I don't know. At this point, they probably paid him so much money just like, hey, can you just do this since Kevin Owens didn't want to do Super Showdown, and we'll give you like your main event type of thing, even though he should have been a main event star for a long, long time. The Kofi Kingston Dolph Ziggler thing was kind of working in the beginning, because Dolph had a good legitimate point. He has been the guy to really go out there and put himself on the line as the same way as Kofi Kingston for the same amount of years they've been on this business. And it seems like Kofi Kingston comes out of nowhere and becomes WWE champion, and Dolph Ziggler is just thrown in the back, just constantly, like just sitting in the corner waiting for his moment, or just literally not being utilized at all. So at the beginning, it was fine. Then he lost, and then he's cutting the same fucking promo every single week. Now he wants to steel cage in a way of like, oh, I don't want any interference or whatever. Okay, so you do the no interference, and then you still lose. What's going to happen then? What's that? Dolph Ziggler's going to leave. He's going to have a match with somebody else. He's going to be thrown as an enhancement talent. What's the end result for Dolph? Because the thing is that Kofi is being built very strongly, which in his own right, the champion should be built strong, plain and simple. But if, like I said previously, if they're pushing him to be strong to lose to Shane, Kofi is going to go down so fast that they don't even have time to clear the dirt. Because if that's the end result, it doesn't look good for Kofi at all. Kofi does not look good in the situation if this whole thing with him being built strong is to lose to Shane. Like I said, these are just rumors and rumors out there, because the whole thing with these rumors is that it makes you think. And the problem with these rumors are, you can't help but know, I can't help this feeling like that's where they're going to go. Because Vince McMahon has done so much bad booking in his life that whenever somebody says, oh, Hornswoggle is going to fight for the Cruiserweight Championship in this fatal 5-way, because he'll just throw himself in there and become champion, you think to yourself, that seems stupid. But when you think Vince McMahon is at the helm, you're realizing, wait, that's a possibility. So this Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler match for the steel cage could, in paper, be a good match. If there's one match I'm looking forward to, it's definitely this one. Because these guys can do a good match. In a steel cage, you never know. Maybe he'll do a Trouble in Paradise off the top of the cage, or Dolph Ziggler will try to do something off the top of the cage. I don't know. Somebody will do something, and it will probably be a good match. But it really doesn't look good for it doesn't look good for Dolph, honestly. Because, of course, they're not going to give the championship to him. And then what's the end result with him? He's doing the same promos, and he keeps doing these fiery promos that just don't hold any water. If you're doing these fiery promos telling them that, like, oh, it should be me, I'm doing this is my time, and you lose constantly, Your words don't hold anything. And that's why I feel like Dolph Ziggler is just going to be thrown into the wolves. And this match it's probably the one match I'll look forward to or try to look at. But other than that, I can't help but feel that if they're just doing this to book Kofi even stronger, because now he's facing him by himself in a steel cage, so he could be, winning his shit for the end result for Shane to pick up the victory or something like that in a future match. This is gonna look so bad in so many ways. And I'm not even getting close to even to the women's matches right now. Because the Becky versus Lacey and Bayley versus Alexis has been the most confusing storylines I've ever seen in my life. First of all, why would you do Becky 2 belts? To let her lose one of those belts just months after WrestleMania, not letting her have like a good run with it, and then have a rematch with Lacey Evans, who we all kind of really see that she's not really good in the ring. I'm going to be plain honest. She's not good in the ring. I find her boring. Her character is interesting, but everything else is just bad. And Becky just looks not as strong as she used to be. Becky looks so one-sided, so one-dimensional in this thing. She's still the man. She is the good thing. But I feel Vince purposely did this just to bury her for getting herself over as the way she did. Because you know how Vince is. He's a petty bitch. He is a petty, little, scaly, conniving, egotistical, misogynic, racist bitch. I'm going to put that out there. He's just a real petty dude. And whenever somebody gets him over in a way that he didn't speculate, he gets really cross about it. And he'll definitely work with you to make as much money as he can. But once that's over, he puts you down. The Rusev Day, he got himself over. Nothing happens. Zack Ryder becoming internet champion, getting himself over. Nothing happens. And we can go far and beyond with like tag teams and other people that got himself over, or even people coming down for NXT that have such a huge name being underutilized just because Vince McMahon did not create it. And I'm talking about the people that came from New Japan, Ring of Honor, TNA, the big guys, and being completely ruined. Maybe not ruined, but not utilized to their full potential. So let's start with the Becky versus Lacey. This is a rematch of a match that we didn't want, that we got, that was horrible, and we're getting it again. The entire build has been shit. Let's not even talk about the horrifying sight of the Becky versus the Charlotte versus Lacey Evans match on Raw, because that was just like a shit show of a match. It got so bad that Becky Lynch had to go in there and fight them just to get the crowd to cheer, because that match was just completely bad. I don't know if they were just trying to like do like a shoot fight match or something, but either way, it just looked terrible. And then the whole thing with Lacey Evans being just doing her catwalk thing for months and then automatically inserted into the Raw Women's Championship picture did not make any sense, because there were so many more people deserving. I know they're trying to do this whole heel versus face type of thing, but in my eyes, I feel like anybody was willing to see any woman fight her for anything. Ember Moon would have been great. Alexa Bliss, if she wasn't injured, would have been great. Bayley would have been great out of all people, even if she was in SmackDown. I think she would have been great. Nikki Cross could have done something. There's so much more other deserving women, but the problem is that with the women's division being so thinned out after Ronda Rousey left, it goes to show that Vince McMahon has no faith in anybody else, because there's so many great talented women's wrestlers in that roster that could have done something, but Vince McMahon has basically put all his chips on Charlotte, Becky, Ronda, and Lacey Evans, while everybody else is just basically thrown out the fucking window. There's so much great talent in NXT that could have called up to do something. Like, I don't know, have a Shayna versus Becky match. I think that would have been great. I think Becky could have come out and say like, "Hey, since I beat the best people for these both championships, I don't know who's up to to really face the man, because I already beat the best." Have Shayna Baszler come down. Shayna Baszler could have done the thing that I don't know, Kevin Owens did when he fought John Cena when he was NXT champion. That could have been a great match. It could have ended in a no contest, maybe like both of them going straight to the distance of a time limit or something. But I think it could have been a great match on the sake of building Shayna Baszler as a dominant champion, as a force to be reckoned with, because she is going to be called out anytime soon. And it could have been a really good match in the sense of, like, you got an unstoppable woman as Shayna Baszler being a 2-time women's champion in NXT. And then you got Becky 2 belts over here with both championships, and have Shayna looking at her and saying, you have 2 things I want to get to add to my collection. But no, we got Lacey Evans. Look, again, respect to all the wrestlers doing this. They're doing something that I probably will never have the balls to do. But it doesn't really shelter themselves from criticism. And honestly, Lacey hasn't really done much in the ring to really capture my eye. Her gimmick, I will say this, her gimmick is pretty cool. I like the whole, she's trying to be classy, all that kind of stuff, but they make it look like a skank, like a classy skank, saying like, oh, I gotta do this and all that kind of stuff because that's what a real woman does to get herself to the top. So you're dusting off your knees and getting your knee pads ready and widening up your jaw to get to the top while Becky's been, I don't know, beating her ass up to get all the way up to the top. It doesn't make any sense. I know she's a heel, but her heelish way is to basically sucking dick to get to the top. I don't like, if you think that I'm being overzealous with this, just look at the promo she did and not tell me what she meant to say is sleeping her way to the top and saying that's what a classy woman does, because that is not what a classy woman does. If anything, she could have said a classy woman should have respect herself and not justify her ways by attacking somebody that used to be her friend or attacking. But this whole thing with her just does not make any sense with her character. Her whole character is supposed to be a classy, military, strong woman, but the way she does her promos make herself like a classy, military skank. Like, that's all I could think of, because like it does not really it doesn't really like project out there positively. And I know she's trying to be a heel, but if you want her to be a heel, just keep the classy thing. Just keep saying like, I do my stuff with class, and like slap her with a glove, or every single time whenever they wrestle, she like wipes her hand with like a napkin and shoves it in her mouth, like the $1 Million Man when he shoved money. Like, they could have done that, but no, they make it seem like, oh, I do this because I sleep my way to the top type of promos. So in essence, the Becky versus Lacey Evans match is something that I'm not looking forward to, and it just is going to be a horrible match. There's no real big payoff unless somebody from NXT like Shayna Baszler comes in and try to like shake things up a little bit, because there's been rumors going around that Shayna Baszler is getting set to be pushed in the near future. Now, they could just start something a little bit early, do something a little bit crazy, or something, try to mix brands over here, because honestly, ever since Ronda Rousey has left the women has left to go start a family in her own right, she's deserving of that because she worked her ass off in the year that she's been in. She's literally shown how thin the women's division is. There's nobody really out there besides Bayley and Charlotte Flair that's been built up as a main event star. Everybody else has been thrown to the end. We got fucking Asuka, out of all people, being in a tag team with another person that should be in the main event or should be built. What's her name? Kairi Sane. But now they're becoming this tag team that we still haven't seen in months, by the way. We haven't seen them in weeks or a month in SmackDown being built whatsoever. You got Ember Moon, who's just basically doing this thing with Mandy Rose. Then you got Mandy Rose and Lacey and Sonya Deville being thrown out, being a weird tag team. Then you got Liv Morgan in SmackDown, who hasn't been seen in a long time. Then you got Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan, non-existent. I can go on and on about how thin the women's division is. And then we can go straight into the Bayley versus Alexa Bliss match, which doesn't make sense that you have a Raw wrestler facing a SmackDown wrestler for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and it comes at a cost of Nikki Cross, who's having this weird buddies friendship thing that we've seen with Alexa Bliss so many times with Mickie James and Nia Jax. They could have seen that she uses them just to get ahead, but they make Nikki Cross look like a stupid character than the weird psychopath that she is. She goes from happy, toity, little fun Nikki Cross, and then in the ring, she becomes her crazy self, and it just doesn't make any sense. The whole thing with her saying, "Oh, Alexis is saying that Bayley was mean to her in NXT and shit like that." I don't know. I am so uninterested in both women's matches They had such a good thing before WrestleMania, and then after WrestleMania, they literally just don't know what the fuck to do anymore. Ever since Ronda left, they really don't know who to push. And the problem is, the solution to this problem is that they have such a deep roster of women that they haven't pushed, and that's their problem. They don't push anybody else other than the top three wrestlers and like the top three wrestlers in each division to do anything. Like, they don't give them time to actually go out and try to push these guys into becoming the next level stars. And the thing is that it's not that hard. There's so much that they can do with so many people. But the thing is, they have so many people, but they're so thinned out. Shinsuke Nakamura is non-existent when he was the most easiest person to do. They literally had to say, "Hey Shinsuke, go out and be Shinsuke. Just be Shinsuke Nakamura," and that's all they had to do. He won his first Royal Rumble in his first appearance in the Royal Rumble. Then they botched the AJ versus Styles Shinsuke match, and then he went heel, and all it was just aiming for AJ Styles' balls, and now he's having this stupid tag team with another person that should have been a main eventer by way before today, Rusev, whose heel face thing is teetering on Big Show's over here. And then you got like a whole bunch of other guys, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, you got the Revival, you got so much of the tag. I'm not even gonna, you could start with the whole tag team division being underutilized because Vince McMahon is just looking for a quick cash for this week, then what can make him tons of money in 3 weeks' time. They're so short-sighted and short distance with their booking. It goes to show how small Vince McMahon thinks everybody else is compared to the people that he thinks are huge. He's paying so much money for 50-year-old men to just wrestle a bad match and almost destroying each other just for a payday. And then you got people that are so underutilized from NXT being shoved down to basically doing nothing but comedy skits and bullshit that it just makes it seem like it's like, hey, look, it's Raw, aka the Baron Corbin Seth Rollins show. Hey, it's SmackDown, aka the Kofi Kingston and whoever wants to be in their show. It just makes each brand's TV shows exclusive to just like 3 to 4 guys, while everybody else is fighting for it. Literally fighting for nothing. The only consistent entertaining thing out of the entire months that's been going on is Bray Wyatt's Firefly House, which I'm scared that Vince McMahon is gonna fuck this up, and I'm not the only one who thinks this. And then the one thing that we thought looked like a goddamn dinner plate on a belt has been the most entertaining thing on the face of WWE at this moment, which is the 24/7 championship. They have 2 things consistently good, which are, one was made by himself, Bray Wyatt, because I think it's been proven that Bray Wyatt has a full control over this. Vince McMahon hasn't. So it goes to show that Bray Wyatt knows how to make a character and know how to keep people interested. And then you got the 24/7 championship, who's just a gigantic comedy skit with the brilliance, and I'm giving so high praise to R-Truth and Carmella keeping this going. But that's the thing. These are 2 small things in a gigantic ass company with guys like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Ricochet, Cesaro, Aleister Black, who we haven't seen, Andrade, for Christ's sakes. Andrade, who's a great wrestler. He made great matches. Oh my God. Those 2 things are overshadowing everything else, and they're barely even doing anything. And then you just got this card on Stomping Grounds that looks so lackluster. And that's literally all I have. I've gone ranting almost 30 minutes because it's so frustrating to me, because I know what WWE can, and I know the wrestlers what they can do. It's just that Vince McMahon has no faith in anybody else doing anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Please let me know down below if you're going to watch Proving Grounds. Which match are you excited for, not excited for, or do you think that WWE is completely lost? So let me know in the comment section below. Follow me on all my social media. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and also follow me on Twitch. I stream there from now on. So if you guys want to see more PNGW videos, make sure to subscribe and like this video. PNG signing out. Peace.